Hello and welcome to the Retirement and Money Show. So, here's a question that catches most people off guard, and that is, what age do people actually retire in the UK? So, what do you think? Well, if you said 66, well, you're technically right, but you're also wrong. See, the state pension age, what the industry calls the statutory retirement age, is 66 for both men and women. And that's the official line, the government's number, the age everyone assumes retirement happens. But here's what the data actually shows. Most people don't actually wait that long. So in this video, I'm going to show you the real retirement ages across the UK and why they're nothing like what you've been told. In this video, I'm covering 4 key things. Number 1, the gap between official state pension age and when people actually stop working. Number 2, why 6 in 10 people actually retire early and what is driving that decision. And number 3, the regional patterns that show retirement is about lifestyle as much as money. And you'll be interested to see how it varies across the UK. And number 4, what I call the unretirement wave and what the new retirement reality looks like for a lot of people. So by the end, you'll know what retirement actually looks like in practice. You'll understand the social and emotional factors driving these decisions, and these sit outside some of the financial decisions related to retirement. And hopefully you have a clearer picture of what might work for your own situation. So my name is Saka Sain, and I've got over 25 years experience helping people plan for their retirement. So as I'm sure you're aware, the state pension age is currently 66 for both men and women. And that's been the case since October 2020. However, for anyone born after April 1960, we're now entering the transition period. And that's where the state retirement age climbs towards 67 between 2026 and 2028. But here's what actually happens in practice. The average man in the UK retires at 65.1 years old, so just over the age of 65. Women retire earlier on average at just around 64 years old. So that means the typical retirement happens about a year before state pension age, not at state retirement age. And it gets more interesting. Research from Just Group in April 2024 found something really striking. And that is 62% of retirees left before reaching state pension age. That means 6 in 10 people are retiring early, not waiting for the government's official state retirement date. Now, some of this is planned, but not all of it. People have workplace pensions they can access from what we call the minimum pension age, and that's currently 55, although as the DW confirmed, in 2025, this will rise to 57 from April 2028. So if you saved into a pension all your working life, you don't always want to wait another 10 years to use it. But there is something deeper happening here, and that is the gap between when the government says and what people actually do is widening. State pension age keeps rising, 66, now 67, and soon 68. But actual retirement ages have been trending slightly down and not up. So we know that 62% of people retire before state pension age. But why don't they wait? Well, the obvious answer is money. If you saved enough, you can stop early. Research from Aviva shows that 26% cite financial security as the reason. They're in a stable position so they can afford not to work. And of course, there's a practical element here. If you can access your pension at 55, why not use it? But here's where it gets a bit more human. 23% of early retirees said that they'd reassessed their priorities, and what mattered to them had changed. Work was at the centre of their life anymore. 20% want to spend more time with family. Grandchildren arrive, parents may need care, or your partner may have retired first. And that pulls you in a different direction. And then there's the work itself. 19% said that they were tired and bored of working. And another 19% found it too taxing and stressful to stay in work. The reality is that burnout is real, especially in your 60s. What's striking here is the mix. That is, it's not purely financial and it's not purely emotional. It's a blend of having enough saved and feeling like you've earned it and frankly being done. So just out of interest, do comment below. Let me know if you're thinking of retiring and whether it's a financial or emotional reason that might be driving it for you. Here's something that surprised me when I looked at the ONS data. ONS is the Office for National Statistics. And that is retirement age varies massively by the region. And it's not always for the reasons that you'd expect. So in the Southwest, 19% of people work beyond the age of 70. So that's nearly 1 in 5 people still in work well past state pension age. And if you compare that to the Northeast, where only 1 in 10 people, so 10% of people are doing that. And at the other end, 10% of people in the East Midlands retire before they hit 60. And in Wales, it's only 4%. So that's the big difference. And what this tells us is that retirement isn't just one pattern. It's shaped by where you live, what you did for work, and what your local economy looks like. So, for example, someone in Plymouth with a £200,000 pot and no mortgage might retire at 60, whereas someone in London with the same pot but renting might have to work until 68. So the numbers are the same, but the outcomes are completely different. What I also wanted to do with you is share a trend that I'm seeing, and that I think that's really shaking up retirement planning. It's what I'm calling unretirement, and this is where people are returning to work after they've already retired. And the reality is it's not rare anymore. Standardized research shows from 2025, 1 in 7 retirees, that's 14%, had already returned to work. So nearly 1 in 3 are actively considering it. That's a massive shift from the traditional you retire once and that's it model. Now, when most people hear this, they assume it's a crisis. Pensions have run out, inflation squeezed budget, cost of living crisis, people are forced back to work. The reality is, yes, cost of living does play a role, and 34% cite struggling with living costs, but there's actually a massive tax hurdle people are missing here. And that is, for the 2026-27 tax year, the new state pension has risen to just over £241 a week, or roughly £12,500 a year. And because the personal allowance is still frozen at £12,570, that leaves a tiny gap of just £22 before you hit the tax bracket. Now, the Chancellor's directive in January 2026 clarified that if your only income is the state pension, you are exempt from tax and filing. However, the moment you unretire to take a part-time job or draw even a small amount from your private pension, you lose that exemption and are pulled into self-assessment or simple assessment system. There's also, of course, the money purchase annual allowance, or the MPAA, to worry about. So you've already taken taxable income from your pension and you go back to work, your annual contribution limit drops to £10,000 a year. And that's why we call the money purchase annual allowance, and it can severely limit your ability to rebuild your pot whilst working. Hopefully you found this information helpful, but here's what to do with all of it. And that is, first, forget the official age and work out your realistic retirement age. So state pension age is 66, but 62% of people retire before that, as we've seen earlier on in this video. So look at your health, your job, your savings, and your housing situation. Number 2, understand that retirement might not be a hard stop. The 41% of people now expect to blend work and retirement together. So plan for flexibility, but do watch out for that £22 tax margin. Remember, the January 2026 Treasury update makes it clear, if you have any income on top of your state pension, you need to be ready for the tax man. And number 3, if you're thinking about unretiring, know that you are not alone. 1 in 7 people have already done it in the UK. But just ensure you understand how the £10,000 money purchase annual allowance limits your future savings if you've already started to draw down on your pension. So you can find detailed guides on retirement planning, pension crystallisation and estate pension forecasts on our website, financialeducation.co.uk. So if you did find this video helpful, I'd be grateful if you can give it a like and do subscribe to our channel, where we have lots of other content related to retirement planning. Finally, good luck and goodbye.